1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow future TV stars, and welcome to
Episode 37, Season 2 of Cure of the What Now? Yum.
the one show where we know you too can go from gum on the bottom of someone's shoe to a soft-shell turtle looking at the moon. I don't understand Rand's metaphors.
Someday that soft shell turtle will even be the moon, but she hasn't reached that part of the mythos yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's something here, or maybe it's just Rand being weird. At any rate, I'm your host, Kat, and I have written a song that will surely convince you to be my friend.
Excellent. I'm your co-host, Joel, and also, I had to move. My parents, they moved, and I still live with them despite being an adult for some reason, and so, in order to do this podcast, I had to ride my bicycle with a bunch of balloons on it to carry me overseas back to this recording.
Oh, overseas. I was like, why the balloons?
Yes.
I'm curious.
It's not the seas, it's just a really wide river, but it's dangerous to cross and the bridge is out, so.
Oh, yeah, and if the bridge is out, you don't have a Koraidon to swim you across.
No, absolutely not.
Can you imagine trying to, ride Gigi across a river? She wouldn't even know what you were trying to do.
I like the idea that our dog is a legendary Pokemon.
Absolutely. Or even Jack, Jack did not like the water. He was big enough for you to ride across a body of water.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't have liked it. Welcome back to Cure of the What Now. Thank you for bearing with us while we recorded nothing during the month of November. Holidays are busy.
Yeah.
And Joel got sick for 2 weeks, and
I know that you do the one show that where we know, but can I do one, perhaps?
Sure, do one,
Okay,
yeah.
Welcome to Cure of the What Now. Cure of the What Now, yum! The one show where we know, life got busy. Depression is a real thing, and new job is a thing, and the holidays are a thing, and getting sick is a thing. All of it happened. So we are back. Our schedule's going to be a little wonky as we try to get back into the groove of things, but we will finish out this season strong. Hopefully Delicious Party isn't having its season finale next week,
Absolutely. No, we've got until February.
Absolutely.
So we should be okay.
Yeah, we should have put that in the news announcements. I am going to put that in the news announcements now. We found out, the official logo and name of next season's PreCure has been released. I can't remember what we did in relation to the current season, Delicious Party, last year when we were covering Tropical Rouge. I will say it's out there. If you're on Twitter, you've seen it probably, but it's out there and it exists and we're very excited for it.
Yes. What we did last year is we watched the trailer when that came out and we talked about it in speculation.
Okay, absolutely. So we'll do that again this year. Yeah,
absolutely. Do we want to share the name with a spoiler warning, or do we want to hold on to that until speculation?
Let's talk all about it all at once.
Okay. Joel, do you want to start with the discussion question this week, or do you want to get right into the review?
It's been a bumpy enough ride. I think folks will forgive us if we don't have a discussion question ready this week.
All right. So tell me which episodes we watched for this episode.
We have watched Doki Doki 39 and 40, Delicious Party 35 and 36. To be clear, we have been keeping up with Delicious Party, even if we haven't been recording, but this week we'll only discuss those 2 episodes. We also went back and rewatched them. Sometimes we have a problem with remembering an episode if we watched it 3 days ago, let alone 3 weeks ago. So these episodes are fresh in our memory. Next week, we will not be covering any Doki Doki episodes on account of we'll have 3 Delicious Parties to catch up on. So we'll do 37, 38, and 39 of Delicious Party. And we also didn't have time to rewatch the Doki Doki movie, which has some long-ass title, Mana is getting married, the dress of hope that connects to the future. Which we have seen, but we don't have enough details fresh in our mind to talk about it, so we will rewatch it, and that'll be next week.
Just such a funny name for a movie. I would not have picked Doki Doki to be the marriage movie.
Well, and, the dress of hope that connects to the future, that doesn't make any sense. I think it was the Tropical Rouge movie was something like, travel to the Winter Island, Princess of Ice. And it's I think I can guess what's going to happen. They're going to go to the Land of Ice and they're going to meet the Princess of Snow, But this one is just she's going to get married at 14 wearing a dress that teleports her to the future? Maybe? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. Everything about that title just makes me think it should be a movie about the pink cure from Hugto.
Okay, yeah. Hugto, or I could even see it being fresh. Like, if Mana was teleporting to the future, there was some theme about her thinking about the future, I think that would fit. What did I say?
Mana.
Momazona Love from Fresh PreCure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what happens when a podcaster stops podcasting for a while. The brain just stops working.
Joel actually is like completely switched off when he's not in front of a microphone. We just keep him in the closet, dust him every once in a while.
Absolutely. All my memories with my dog are fake, in fact. Catherine has two different outfits. One that is Catherine, and then she puts on like a top hat and a mustache, and she pretends to be me. And then she takes those memories and sticks them into my computer programming.
I like that the canon of this podcast now is that you're a man with a top hat and a mustache. I was about to say you don't have either of those things, but I guess you do have one right now.
We'll leave which to the listener as a mystery.
Absolutely.
So, I also should give quick, succinct summaries.
Probably would be good.
So. Episode 39 of Doki Doki, we find out, so Regina came back at the end of the last episode, but I don't think she appeared before the Doki Doki girls. I think she just appeared before the Mercenaries. And they're basically like, we can't defeat the Doki Doki girls because they have one of the 3 sacred treasures. And she goes, why don't we get the other 2 and then we'll outnumber them? And Belle goes, oh my god, that's actually kind of brilliant. He pretends to be Joe. He gets the girls to come to Splendoria. What's it called? The Trump Kingdom. Because the Dragon Glaive, the second of the 3 mystical treasures, is there deep underneath the castle. This is the Dragon Glaive that Princess Anne wielded before she got turned into an ice cube. And so it's there. And it's a sort of sword in the stone situation where only someone who's pure of heart can take it out. All of the selfish have tried and it like electrocutes them or something. The girls, it turns out, actually knew that this was Belle in disguise the whole time for various reasons. But they're unable to pull the glaive out. Belle's plan was to have them take it out, and then he would take it from them. They want to take it out anyway, so they can use it to give a stern talking to the Selfish King. But then Regina shows up, and as they're trying to convince her, like, Regina, we love you, she's just still brainwashed, still winter soldiered, and so all she can hear is, we're going to kill your dad, we're going to stab him, and then we're going to slowly pour sand in the wounds. And so she's like, I won't let you do those horrible things to my dad that you've never actually said that you were going to do. And that love for her dad allows her to get the Dragon Glaive, which is crazy, which is not what I was expecting at all.
And as a quick aside, Belle has a moment where he goes, but none of us could touch it. Is she even really a-selfish? Indicating she might be some other race. And I noticed, and I did just look up her picture to confirm, all of the selfish trio have little bat wings over their ears. Regina doesn't have those.
Very interesting. That leads us into Doki Doki episode 40. Oh, by the way, the girls were able to escape Trump Kingdom by using the mirror sacred treasure. So in this episode, the girls are trying to figure out what they're going to do. Augury is like, we've got to kill Regina. Doesn't say kill, but like, we have to face her as an enemy. And Melina goes, no, she's our friend. She clearly, like, something's messing with her head. And so this is an episode, it's really cute, where Makoto has learned from her past instance of not trusting Regina and is now on board the let's try to get her to be our friend train.
Let's reawaken her love through the power of song.
Yes. And Augury is the one who's like, we can't trust her because she's a selfish and blah, blah, blah. Mana's key point here is not just I believe in her blindly because I'm the pink cure, but I believe in her because she was able to use the love for her dad to get the Miracle Glaive. So, like, she can't be pure evil. The rest of the episode is just Makoto learning about writing songs, and she writes a new song, and the other girls help her, even Augury, and at the very end of the episode, we'll talk about it more, but there's a cool Makoto, Regina kind of confrontation, moment, scene, whatever you want to call it, and it looks like Regina's mind-washing, winter-soldiered state is starting to wear off, but not completely. She's like, don't touch me, and then she flees. That is all for Doki Doki. Delicious Party 36. Kokone finds out that her parents her parents want to move to Iseki Island, the nation state that has Princess Yui. And she's torn. She really likes the idea of staying with her family. She really likes the idea of helping them create new restaurants and like a local food, like a traditional dish of the nation, which I didn't think how it was done, but whatever. But she also wants to stay here, and she loves her friends, and she loves her schoolmates, and she wants to keep being a PreCure, so which way will she go? At the end of the episode, she is brave enough to discuss her feelings with her parents. They seem to compromise. They don't spell it out explicitly, but at the very last scene, we see that her mom has moved to Iseki Island, and Kokone and her dad are still here.
Her dad's with her mom.
She was sitting right next to her dad at the dinner table.
No, I thought that was imagination. Her mom and her dad were sitting next to each other on the video call.
Okay, so Kokone is living here and can continue to be a PreCure, and one or more parents are not living with her as they help out the Make Iseki a Food Nation plan.
I really thought you were going to say Make Iseki Great Again, and I was like, no, that's not what they're doing.
It seems like it's always great,
They're
honestly.
just trying to draw in tourism. Yeah, it's a nice little place with choco spice.
Yeah, Choco Spice. What was the other one that we saw?
Sugar salt?
Sugar Salt. Yeah, that one actually, I mean, I don't know if it would be good on anything, but it's just you take two grainy things and then you put them together, now you have a weirder grainy thing.
Salt and sugar do go well together in many desserts.
Okay, see? There you go.
I wouldn't put it on fish, though.
No, probably not. All right, and so episode 36, Ran meets an influencer, basically. Ran wonders if she could ever be a famous influencer, but she thinks that she doesn't have the chops for it, and she's just not natural at it. But then she meets this influencer who's there to talk about the Panda Hut's food, and she basically is like, yo, Ran, I wasn't born an influencer. I kind of had to work my way here, and I've made... Was it 1,000 or 10,000? I've made so many mistakes, and eventually each of those mistakes made me better. And so Ran learns confidence. She learns to keep trying even if at first she doesn't succeed. It's a cute episode, but there's not much to succinctly summarize. I should also mention that in both of these episodes, Mary is starting to look into Ginger, and we're starting to get, endgame, plot details.
The lore!
The lore! So right now, all Mary is doing is he's going around and talking to people and asking them if they know Ginger, because I guess Ginger was in, whatever town they're in.
Oishina.
Oishina town. So he's going around to the people who were there 20 years ago, I think it was, and basically saying, have you seen this man? And they go, we haven't seen this man. But... this will lead somewhere in the next couple of episodes. We'll cover it in next week's episode. And those have been your Succinct Summaries!
Those were great succinct summaries. Would you like to talk about Doki Doki first or Delicious Party first?
I think Delicious Party has less meat on the bone, so we can kind of get that out as the appetizer.
All right. What did you think about these episodes? Did you like them?
I think they were all right. There were a couple of moments in the Kokone episode that I think were animated in a way that kind of feels... different, like maybe they spent more animation budget on those moments to make them look better, and I think it worked really well. They also, one really cute moment, I guess, that was the Ran episode, but they get, the bad guy sticks all of the girls but Ran in food molds, and so Yui is stuck inside of a dog-shaped thing, and Kokone is stuck inside of a cat-shaped thing, and as Mary is calling them out, she just goes, oh, Neko-san, like she's sad that the cat has betrayed her or something like that. And then Amane is in a platypus, and she's very confused by this. She's like, why platypus?
Why am I in a platypus? Yes, that was very cute. The Kokone episode was interesting because... I didn't understand the stakes. Her parents already don't live with her. Her parents travel around the world. So she could have just said, cool, have fun on that island. I'm going to stay here with my friends. And maybe this is the closest they could have lived to her, and that's why she could have moved there with them. They wouldn't have been traveling as much.
I think the idea is that they're growing closer and they want to have more of a relationship with her. They haven't shown us, but I would be willing to believe if the directors were like, yeah, after the last Kokone episode about her parents, they decided not to move so much. Like, they don't travel as much for their work. But maybe this is just a chance for them to kind of settle down and Kokone could actually live with them for a while.
Right, and then the one other issue I had with this episode is Kokone is nervous about how the girls will do PreCure without her, and they say it's fine, just focus on you, we'll manage. And then they totally get creamed by the bad guy, and Kokone has to show up and rescue them. Yeah. So I feel like it would have been better if they had been able to manage. Maybe they were holding off the monster fine, but when Kokone came, they were able to do their final attack to actually defeat it. But then they could have had a moment where they were like, see, we can do it without you. And she could have been like, I've decided to stay anyway because I love you.
Absolutely. The thing that confuses me about it, I kind of get I get Yui saying, we will find a way to manage without you. She's not saying we definitely can. She's just like, I believe in us and we'll manage, because you living with your parents is more important than us saving the recipes or whatever. So I understand that they might have been overconfident and that they tried to fend for themselves, but it turns out that Kokone brings unique skills to the table. What I'm more surprised by is that Mary and the others are just like, yeah, go ahead. I understand that it's important that Kokone get to have her own agency. If she decides that she can't handle the PreCure job anymore, I think she should technically be allowed to quit, even though, if you were to look at, like, say, Superman, he's not allowed to quit, because if he suddenly left but there's still Kryptonians trying to blow up planet Earth, that would really suck. So I get that, but I also don't get, like, here's the thing that's basically end of the world stakes, like it's going to steal all food or whatever, and, you living with your parents is more important than that, honestly.
I think it works better if you imagine, like think of this in terms of the target audience, right? So imagine PreCure not as they're actually saving the world, but it's just a club, right? And these girls are, like, playing pretend. I think the point of the episode was that sometimes in your life you have to make hard choices, and you might have to give up things that are important to you to get other things that are important to you.
Okay.
And so in that context of, like, the kids who are watching it, I kind of get it.
Well, not only that, but I think another key point is that it might feel like, you can either help your parents paint the nursery for your new baby sister, or you can go over to your friend's house and help them with a class project. And it might feel like if you do the class project, your parents will be upset, and if you help your parents, your friends might get upset. And I think this episode is also trying to say the people who care about you should be able to understand why you make the choices you make. If this project is super important and they might fail the class if you don't help them, maybe your parents will understand. Or maybe if you explain to your friends that your parents need you, and I think really the best way to solve these kinds of problems is with, if it's possible, some kind of compromise or collaboration. Maybe you help paint the nursery until lunchtime and then you go over to your friend's house, or vice versa. It was a cute episode, but it was a little muddled, I agree.
Yeah, but that scene of Kokone sitting with the leaves falling around her was very pretty.
Yes.
And Pam Pam shone in this episode. She was so good.
Pam Pam popping out of the pile of leaves and being like, I snuck along. Like, that was the cutest Pam Pam has ever been. And there's a scene where it's the same scene, but she's, like, floating with the leaves. Like, she's like Mary Poppins with the umbrella or something. Like, yeah. This was a cute episode. We saw Todoroki again for a second, and I think you pointed out last episode that, like, he doesn't exist except for when he's on screen, but, like, hey, he existed for 5 seconds. He did something kind of cool. I liked that.
He did, yes. The Ran episode was kind of the same. Like, very cute, but that was it.
Yeah.
And again, I felt like the conflict didn't make any sense to me because we've never seen Ran not be confident in herself.
Yeah. Yeah, at the same time, I don't know if we've ever seen her actually, like, perform on TV in any way. I think for the promotional video they did a couple of weeks ago for something, I think that she was, like, the cameraman or the camerawoman rather than actually being on camera.
You know how I would have written this episode that I think might have made it hit a little better?
Okay.
I would have had Ran excited to be on TV and talk about food with her idol or whatever. And then when her idol came into the store before they started filming, Ran would make a comment about, our noodles are like riding a ski lift to the top of the world and seeing the moon. And she would have laughed and she would have been like, oh, that's such an eccentric description. And Ran wouldn't have understood and would have thought that she was making fun of her for being weird.
Yep.
And so she would have been stiff and awkward on TV. And then they would have had a moment at the end where she would have been like, no, being eccentric is a good thing. It means you're uniquely you.
Yes.
And then Ran would have had her moment to try again and be confident.
Absolutely. And to be clear, if you're watching, or if you're listening to us but haven't watched the episode, there is a comment like that at the end of the episode, but you're suggesting the first half, the misunderstanding, happened earlier in the episode, and then the resolution, the clarification, comes later.
Yes.
I like that. Another thing that they could have also done, although it doesn't factor in Rand's eccentricness, but she could be so nervous and so excited that, like, she talks over her co-host, so it could be a little bit more like a it's good to be excited, but don't like trample other people's experiences with it. I think they could have done that pretty well as well. But the end part where Ran was trying to use her noodles to break the girls out of those animal molds, and it doesn't work the first time, and she starts like, even if I fall 1,000 or 10,000 times, insert larger number here, I'll keep going and then I'll eventually succeed. And like, hell yeah, that's really cool.
Absolutely.
So, anything else?
I mean, we should probably touch on the lore stuff a little bit, I guess.
Sure.
Mari, despite interrogating the town, still has no idea what Ginger was doing there. We know what he was doing there. It's Yui's grandma.
I mean, I guess that's true.
I'm just saying. I'm on board with that theory now. Still has no idea what Ginger was doing there, but something about him talking about Ginger triggered the fairies.
It was him taking out the money pouch with like the Ginger G on it or whatever. It made not Kokone, but the other two start freaking out.
Right, and so now the other two are like, we remember coming here with Ginger and Kokone the First.
Yep.
Which, like, is super cool, because I thought that meant the next episode we were really going to get our fingers into the meat of the lore, and the next episode nobody said anything.
So I agree with you that it's a little weird, and maybe they should have had the Amane episode, that is the next episode, here, like between Ran and Kokone or whatever, but yes, I get the feeling that we are hitting the final character episode for each girl. So in Kira, PreCure, Alamode, longest PreCure series title ever, we had an episode at the beginning where we got introduced to Akira, and Akira's thing was her little sister, right? They're both... It's a sister. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was a sister or a brother. But she's worried about her sister, and then we have her final episode where her sister seems to be doing better, and Akira is thinking about where she wants to go post-high school. And we have the earlier episode with Yukari. She can't make macarons, and then we have her final episode where she makes macarons and she decides what to do with her life. So I really get the feeling that we've had Kokone's final episode... It doesn't feel final, but like it could theoretically be.
We've had the emotional climax of her arc.
Yes. And we've had Rand's episode looking towards the future, and next episode, and we'll discuss this next week, but Amane's episode is about her kind of like final duties as student president. And so I think they have the big lore episodes, which will probably be like 5 episodes in a row where things actually happen, and then like a Christmas episode like awkwardly in the middle there.
If we get one this year.
I don't want to... Well, okay, I'm going to spoil that we do get one this year.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been 1,000 years.
We had 10,000 seasons without a Christmas episode, but the 10,001st episode has a Christmas episode. But I think that they had like this big chunk of episodes about lore where they wrap everything up, and they just want to get the character emotional beats out of the way before they do that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I just, like you said, I think it would have been better to put the Amane stuff in the middle, maybe, or have the reveal at the end of the Amane episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I just realized they're doing it in order. Because Kokone was the first person to join Yui. She was the first one of these 3 to get an episode, and Amane was last.
But it feels weird that none of the characters, like, even thought about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was about to be like, we didn't mention X, but we didn't mention it because it's going to go in next week's discussion.
Absolutely. Also, more memory stuff. Last season, we had memory stuff with, like, mermaid queens, and the bad guy ended up forgetting about her friendship with the PreCure or whatever was going on there. And now we have fairies who have lost their memories, and Ginger was working on a secret project, which even now, having watched episodes past where we're discussing, Catherine and I still don't know what it is, so we can talk about that and looking ahead, I think.
Cool beans, cool beans. Anything else to say about Delicious Party?
Ryan's dad is awkward on TV, and I thought that was pretty great.
He very much came across as, like, scary, grumpy old man.
Yes.
And then you can hear him in the background after the TV crew is leaving, like, very weakly being like, an autograph, please?
Yes. That is one thing to shout out really quick. There's 2 food critics, and I only wrote down one name because only one of them is the star of this episode, but Tatamoto, I believe is her name. She is a real-life influencer who has also previously been on other seasons of PreCure. I believe she was in Tropical Rouge, but I didn't write down that note, and I'm too lazy to look it up. So, let's move on to Doki Doki.
Let's do it.
Did you like these episodes?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the Makoto episode was the emotional highlight of this season.
It was very good. And much like I was just discussing with Delicious Party, it kind of feels like this could be the last episode that focuses on Makoto, and I think it would be a really good place for her to end up. Like, she was already an idol, but now she's managed to use that idol status to, like, reach someone, and she failed to do so at the beginning of the season with Princess Anne. So, like, that's cool.
Absolutely. So I'm curious to see where Regina goes from here.
Yes. We'll have to see if she's, like, wavering next episode, or if she'll have, like slapped herself in the face and been like, feelings are for sissies or something like that, right?
Feelings are for people who don't have daddies.
Absolutely. I love the fact... So, as I explained in the Succinct Summary, Bell disguises himself as Joe, and he makes several mistakes. And the first mistake is actually not one that the show explicitly draws attention to, but all of the girls kind of make a face, and if you are not thinking about it, or you don't notice, or you're not paying attention, you think that they think it's odd that Joe would say that, like, we need to solve the princess's problem, you know? Like, something dramatic just happened, so they all kind of, like, look at each other, and Makoto's first question is, tell us more. But then at the end of the episode, when you find out that they are actually, like, onto him, the look that they were giving each other was, something's not right here. This guy isn't Joe.
Because he called her princess.
Instead
he didn't
of
call her
Anne.
Anne.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was wearing the wrong apron, which you and I clocked immediately. He was wearing Belle's scarf, which you and I, both times we watched this episode, we just, like, didn't see it. Just completely invisible to us somehow. He ends up being able to teleport them to Trump Kingdom, and Rick is like, you can? What? When did you learn that? And he was like, a wizard taught it to me, or whatever.
I've been training.
You know, if you just think real hard about teleportation, eventually you'll unlock that ability. But it was just a really good episode. You had Augury/Cure Ace defeating the disdain in the background while the other four girls kind of focus on trying to get Regina to, you know, admit that she likes them, but she won't because, you know, she doesn't like anyone, baka.
She only needs her dad.
She only needs her dad. And then, this is just fascinating. I absolutely love this. She gets the Miracle Dragon Glaive. Like... It makes sense. As we were watching this episode the first time, I kind of was like, okay, so there's 3 sacred treasures. We kind of guessed that they would need all 3 by the end of the season. That's just how PreCure works. They never mention a magical MacGuffin that isn't used. But at the same time, if they're already powerful enough for Regina to hit them with an energy blast point blank, and Mana just, like, holds up her hand and goes, no damage, no cap, bro. If Regina is like a dragon and Mana is like a fairy, like... how are the bad guys going to be dangerous? But it turns out they're going to be dangerous because she actually is capable of love. She's able to get the Dragon Glaive. We get more Regina augury, like, oh, I smelled something disgusting. Is it you again? Looking at augury. You have augury being weird about whether Regina can be redeemed next episode. And now you have Regina, the only selfish, who doesn't have bat wings and might not be a selfish, wielding a miraculous glaive. Like, we are... in the end game, and we're going to find out her backstory, and there's something weird about her.
Yeah, well, and her and Augury's connection is really interesting to me, because Regina wasn't even supposed to be in this episode, right? Belle didn't tell her where he was going. He snuck the PreCure to where the Dragon Glaive were, but something was making her sick, is what she said, and she came down to investigate, and she found Augury, and she's like, you were making my stomach upset.
Yes.
So, like... maybe it's a Harry Potter Voldemort thing. One cannot live while the other survives. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've never heard of this Harry Potter book. Is it something written by Hatsune Miku?
Yeah,
okay,
no.
Yeah, perfect, awesome.
You shouldn't buy it at the stores, though, because I heard every dollar you spend buying those books through official means actually goes to perpetuating racism in rat populations.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely.
So since we're trying to fight against that, you just, secondhand it, or it's been out since like the 1930s, so you can probably just get a PDF online and not feel too bad about it.
Yeah. I think Hatsune Miku also co-wrote the first one with someone who, like, every dollar they get, they just punch an orphan, like, in the stomach, and it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's not cool. We do not endorse that sort of behavior.
Absolutely. But, so I think there's 2 ways of looking at the Regina thing showing up. I didn't take it literally as you did. What I think happened is at the beginning of the episode, Regina tells the mercenaries, she's like, y'all are useless, step up your game. What if we got one of the sacred treasures? And so, like, what if she's manipulating them to try to go get the PreCure and bring them here? Because if she tried to lure them, it wouldn't work, or they tried to hug her or something.
Maybe. So, like, is Regina that smart?
I don't know. Okay, but that's kind of like one possibility. But the other possibility is, yeah, she can like sense Cure Heart or something. But I don't think it was an actual sickness. I think, if anything, that's the girl who blasted me with a rose petal of friendship last time and almost killed me. So I think she's out for revenge more than anything.
Could be for sure. We got a shout out in the Makoto episode. The girls decide they're just going to stand there and let Regina blast them because they believe in her love. And they get a new lovies that gives them angel wings.
Angel wings are the best PreCure transformation, baby!
They really are. If we don't get angels next season, I'm just going to throw a big adult tantrum.
Angel wings are super cool. I love it. I love that they're still getting more power-ups this late in the game. I love that it, like...
Well, and we've got the Cupid motif going on with the bows and everything, right? So,
yes.
Of course, they have to get angel wings. Like, that's just the logical thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, and I think some seasons do better with the theming than others. I still don't get someone saying that their dream is to be a princess. And I guess their dream is to continue to dream in a sort of metaphysical sense. But, like, Doki Doki really goes hard, and it grabs you by the jacket and shakes you. It's like, do you understand my themes? And so, like, I really appreciate that, you know, Mana continues to be like, I love Regina. Regina almost seems to, like, not after she gets the glaive, but when she first shows up in episode 39, sorry, I was looking at the Delicious Party episodes, but she gets tackled by Mana and she's about to blast Mana with like a negative energy beam, and I really, from the way she voice acted it, it almost felt like I'm supposed to be evil, so I'm acting like I'm gonna kill you, but I don't really mean it. Like, even now, there's still a part of me that likes you, Mana, or whatever, so it's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And Makoto's song made me feel things deep in my heart.
Now, you were very excited about this scene, and I believe you've described it before, but can you explain it again?
Yes, so I actually saw this scene probably a year or two ago on Twitter before we really started watching PreCure. But Makoto begins to sing her song, and the girls are fighting off the other bad guys in the background.
And to be clear, it's Makoto as in her, like, civilian form wearing her idol clothes for the performance.
Yeah. No, she's Cure Sword at that point, but she puts on her idol headset.
Okay, I think she's wearing the idol outfit as well.
You're right. She transforms as she's walking toward Regina. I forgot she had untransformed at some point.
Right, she transforms before that, and they don't really show the untransformation sequence, but when we watched it a second time, I was like, oh, she's in her idol outfit. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yo ho ho.
But she's walking toward Regina, and she's singing, and she's slowly transforming. Her, like, dress glows, and then her hair. It's just very cool. And then Regina is yelling at her the whole time, like, you need to stop. You need to stop coming close to me. I'm gonna get you. And she points the spear, and Makoto grabs hold of the spear, and she kind of cups Regina's face and finishes her song. And It's just so precious and cool. Oh, I love it. I love that it is exactly a PreCure way to do a battle.
Yes.
Like, she won that battle with her love. She didn't actually physically fight Regina.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. It is really, it's not just an emotional highlight of this season. I think it's an emotional highlight of the entire series. I wouldn't say it's the number one best scene, unqualified, but no, it's really touching. I really like it.
Doki Doki is rapidly becoming an S tier season for me.
Can I go off the rails a little bit? Okay, so you and I especially, I think,
Futariwa,
joke about the women loving women vibes of a lot of PreCure seasons. It's a very popular thing that a lot of people pick up on. Some seasons are more obvious than others. I like the idea of Regina being brainwashed by Selfish King as forcing heteronormativity on her. Okay, so like, no, just follow along. What if Regina is gay?
Okay.
What if her dad disapproves?
Okay.
In this metaphor. What if the Doki Doki girls can accept her for that? What if Makoto's brief moment of not trusting Regina and Audrey's brief moment of not trusting her could also represent a little bit of homophobia? What if they learn to accept it? What if Makoto sings a song to try to bring Regina kind of over to their side, showing that they love her and they'll accept her no matter what, and it ends with a gentle sisterly touch of the cheek while Regina shouts, "That's not true, it can't be, that's not who I am, that's not my identity, I'm straight, don't touch me."
That's quite the fanfic you've got going on there.
I think it's a valid interpretation, even if that's not explicitly what they were going for.
Man, I'm not telling you it's not valid. I'm just telling you it's a lot.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
There's some emotional processing I hear in what you're sharing with me right now.
Well, and we've talked, too, about how Selfish King is a good representation of an abusive father who doesn't, as far I don't remember, it doesn't like strike Regina in any kind of way, but is kind of manipulative and is very like, stay away from these girls who are a bad, quote unquote, bad influence on you. And so I also kind of like it as a metaphor of like, we'll help you out of your situation, but some people in those situations don't want out, or they see themselves as so trapped that even if someone wants to help them, they can't take the help. And so it's just a really good scene, and it works on so many different levels. I love it.
It absolutely does. Yeah. I love the season. It's a good season.
Mm-hmm. I will point out that their new attack is called Royal Lovely Straight Flush. I think it's PreCure Royal Lovely Straight Flush. So the previous one was just Straight Flush, and this one's Royal, which is, of course, if you have a King, Queen, Jack, 10 and 9, I think, of hearts, or maybe it's the ace. I can't remember. So, anyways.
I don't know anything about cards, but cool. Also,
You know.
man.
Yeah?
That attack name puts a thorn in your compet plotline theory.
Oh, it's the straight flush.
It's the straight flush.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
some rainbow activism of PreCure.
Maybe they, too, are suffering under the system of heteronormativity, and that's capitalism, baby!
What is going to sell bottles of Coca-Cola during Pride Month?
Absolutely. Are we ready to move on to heartfelt Doki Doki love messages?
I think we are ready to move on to love letters from our good fans.
Absolutely. We got thoughts from AU this week, and they were saying, of course, the One of Us Has to Move episode has happened many times throughout PreCure, but they really liked how it developed, right? It shows development for Kokone. It shows both parents and friends trying to support her, and it shows them coming to a amicable resolution.
I like that in the last Kokone Loves Her Parents episode, her parents realized, oh wow, our girl is neurodivergent and has never once shared her true feelings with us. And so now we see them purposefully like arranging the setting so she would have a chance to tell them her feelings.
Absolutely.
Like, that's how you know this is a fiction show, because those are the most supportive parents I've ever seen. Like, they have to be fictional.
Yeah, well, and like, realistically, most people can't do a complete 180 like that. It takes time, but like, I do really like it. I also can't remember the last time we had an episode with them when they visited Kokone, if they brought her cute things, but this episode, they give her something very cute, and I appreciate that. Like, if they found out, because it was fashion that they didn't know she liked, and so if she was like, I like fashion and I like cute things, I'm like, okay, we'll buy you a giant crocodile plush the next time we're out or something, you know, and an egg with a happy face on it. That's what you like, right, Kokone? And Kokone goes, thanks, father, I love egg.
Oh, dear. AU also told us that we were trying to cover too many episodes to get caught up, which is why we're putting the movie next week, so thanks, AU.
Yeah, it's definitely... The reason we stopped doing episodes was partially due to mental stress, and so trying to force ourselves back with just like we're just going to do everything that we missed might not have been good for our health. She also really liked that Pam Pam was cute in this episode, and it reminded her of the Healin' Good partners from Healin' Good. I don't know why my brain was like, you have to say it twice. I think... Despite Healin' Good's flaws, I do like the relationship between most of the girls and their partners. It's stronger for some, weaker for others, but it's still a good element.
Absolutely.
And then we have a crack theory that Kat and I agree with, but I've heard some rumblings that maybe an upcoming like episode title or something has maybe kind of spoiled that it might not be true. But crack theory, what if Ginger is Yui's grandfather? We have never seen an instance of Yone's partner, of anyone that the family calls grandpa, other than we thought it might have been the guy from the baseball episode, but no, he's a family friend grandpa, not a wasn't dating my grandpa. And I kind of like this because the episode that came out this week that Kat and I still haven't watched yet, but it seems to revolve around time travel, maybe, and potentially talking to, like, Yone's ghost in some way. And so, like, if the grandpa was going to be relevant, we would be able to see that. Plus, we've already seen a love story between a Ku Kingdom warrior and a human that happened when, Cinnamon came to town. And so, like, it would kind of make sense. Yone taught Yui to be kind and helpful and to care about others. So if she saw someone collapse on the side of the road and she nursed him back to health, and if he was super into food and she was super into cooking food, I could totally see that being a thing.
Absolutely. I have a crack theory about next week's episode.
Okay.
By the way. I think that when they travel in time, they will discover that Yone was a PreCure.
Oh, that's a really good... I like it when we actually meet the legendary PreCure. I guess we've had very few seasons where they've mentioned legendary PreCure and then we haven't met them. Doki Doki so far seems like we're not going to meet the mirror PreCure. Empress, was she called? I think so. I think it was.
We're not going to meet her, but we at least saw her.
That's true.
Like, we had a flashback with her. There are seasons where they just don't have historic PreCure.
That's true. But no, I'm looking forward to maybe seeing Yone in her youth. I'm wondering if we're going to get some kind of like, oh no, my energy fairy has disappeared. Where has it gone? What could this mean? Also, the Boondaroo gang has just been founded off screen. Who knows? Is it related? I don't think so.
Oh, dear.
Completely distinct events that happen at the same time, just coincidentally.
This is a metaphor for heteronormativity and how it affects society.
Under a capitalistic system, there will be no rice for the common man. And that has been your do final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and have a great day. Don't forget to be yourself on Instagram. Unless yourself is someone who punches orphans in the stomach, in which case, try being someone else.
The political or religious views expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the host. Nothing is real. Everything is made up. Your life is a fiction.
Buy gold!
Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Pirate Ghost Host. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.